Valley Conference that your father, the late HGenrty Sr., played a significant role in terms of creating a situation so that Tennessee State University could become involved in the Ohio Valley Conference. Following him by a number of years, how do you see your relationship within that conference with the other schools, and what do you think that it brings to Tennessee State University as well as what Tennessee State University brings to the Ohio Valley Conference?
Well, my role is to just continue the athletics program and tradition. As far as the Ohio Valley Conference, it goes back to the 60s. Dr. Davis had a desire to move into the Ohio Valley Conference way back. And of course, the conference did not accept us. Then in the 70s, TSU made another bid. And the reason that TSU made a bid into the conference, if you didn't know, TSU has always been independent. Dr. Davis wanted to see TSU compete at the highest level. He wanted to see All-Americans. We had a bunch of black All-Americans. He felt that TSU could create All-Americans, national All-Americans. He believed that TSU should be able to compete for national championships. And he felt that that conference was an avenue in which to do that. As far as us being in the conference right now, I think it's outstanding exposure. It's a lot of competition. As far as our sports, other than football, it's the best place we could ever be. Right now, football is okay, but if I had my wish, I'd rather that the conference did not require as many conference football games as they do, because we need to play our our historical rivals. We need to play them. We need to play it for revenue. We need to play it for the best interests of our fans. And it's just something we need to do. So we're working with the conference right now to see if we can cut back on the number of required games that we play in football and see if we can't work this thing out. I don't have a problem with the conference per se. I just know that what's best for TSU is for us to have an opportunity to play one or two more of our rival football games, and that will have an impact on our budget that would be very, very positive.
Now, what about that impact on the budget? I mean, the difference between playing as an independent and playing as a member of the conference. So let's have the two of you speak to that as an issue.
Well, you want to talk to that?
Well, first? I think, first of all, looking at it from a football perspective, there are a lot of schools that we're not playing that Tennessee State once played, such as your Gramblin's, on a yearly basis, your Southern universities and schools of that nature. If they were added to our schedule, it would bring a lot more fan interest, because a lot of our fans have more in common with those schools than they do, with the OVC schools, Ohio Valley Conference schools, such as Moorhead, Southeast Missouri schools of that nature. So we would definitely see a difference in our fan interest picking up from week to week if we were able to play more historically rivals such as Mr. Gentry was speaking of.
What about the financing? I think you're concerned about what does that mean?
I would say if we play Moorhead, our revenue from that game would probably be $4,000. If we played Grambling, the revenue would probably be $104,000. So that's
so you talk about that kind of dollars.
And what do we bring to the conference? What we bring is a crowd everywhere we go. The conference, unfortunately, with some games, does not reciprocate. And again, it's not that the conference doesn't want the people to come. It's just not a crowd drawing conference with some of our teams, such as your Moorhead, such as your teams like Southeast Missouri, that's way out in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Not anything that is planned or any forethought. It's just the fact that they're not our rivals, so they don't come to our games, and we still bring more to them. I don't say that these games cannot be built into rivalries, but we already have rivalries. And again, if we had a little relief there, we're required to play 8 conference games. That only leaves 3 to go outside. So to just bring in one more non-conference game would probably be, as far as the budget's concerned, $100,000 plus situation as far as revenue is concerned.
And so the revenue difference is that great in terms of conference operation, in terms of non-conference operation. And so in reality, you're better off in a sense in the conference, but if you could play a few more games.
See, we really can't say that we'd be better off independent because it might upset the fans, because to really make money independent, we'd have to stay on the road. Don't you think so, Coach?
Quite a bit.
We'd have to stay on the road because you have to play your classics. That's where your big money
This
games
is
are.
Atlanta and
Memphis, Chicago, Indianapolis, you know, those type of places. So there's some pluses and minuses. Plus, you'd have to travel a lot, which cuts into your profits. So the ideal situation, you know, I guess how they say, if I were king, then I'd have a 2-tier conference where we're required to play 6 conference games. Then we could play 5 out of conference. And I think we could survive, don't you, Coach?
I think we could. We definitely could, because just adding those 2 more games would definitely help our budget and would help, you know, and because football basically finances, you know, some of the other programs. Basketball, we only have 3 revenue sports, basketball, men and women, and football, where in football being the, you know, the largest of those, of the 3 sports. And it would definitely, you know, give us an opportunity to maybe put some more money into the coffer of the minor sports, such as track and field, women's softball, tennis, and things of that nature.
And it would help the conference. Because if we got stronger in our non-revenue sports, it would just make the conference that much stronger, because we've been struggling in our sports like tennis, volleyball, softball, and what have you. Track is coming along because we brought in Chandra Cheeseborough, former Olympian, and Allen Robinson's doing a fine job.